Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome to a brand new video. Hope y'all are having a blessed day as always. Today I'm going to be showing you guys some really easy things that you can do to create really good melodies similar to Nick Mira's and also make beats way faster than what you've been doing. I feel like it's really easy to overcomplicate things, and these are just some things that I've picked up from watching his live streams and stuff that have really helped me kind of make my work process faster, I guess is what I'm trying to get at, you know? But yeah, without further ado, if you're new here, hit subscribe. If you are not, hit subscribe, leave a comment, and leave a like, and yeah, let's go. So here's a beat that I made today. Just a nice little piano beat, you know? So one of the main things that I kind of learned from him is when you're making melodies, one of the things that you want to do is just create a chord progression and kind of go from there. So like when I'm creating a chord progression, what I used to do is I used to do each chord individually, and I found it to be really hard to do that just because it's a lot harder to like build a sound chord by chord than it is, for me personally at least, than it is to have the root notes already laid down and then you just build the chords from there. I just find it so much easier because then you kind of understand what it's going to sound like if you already have like the main root notes down of the chord, and then you just kind of understand where it can go from there. After I build a chord, which, you know, takes however long, then I just add some top layer melodies, and I did everything in the Aeolian scale, which if you've watched Nick Mira's tutorials or anything about him, you know that Aeolian scale is basically what he uses a majority of the time. And I kept everything in the scale. The only reason why it doesn't look like it is because I shifted the octave around, and that's another really big thing with his beats as well too. Almost every single one of his beats that I've watched him make, he's playing around with the octave almost every single time. And I never used to do this, and it definitely helps a lot, especially once you get to like the 808 part. For me at least, I like to be able to, you know, once I put the core melody down, for an example, I like to bring the 808 in right after and then kind of play around with the key until the 808 sounds really good with the actual chords. So I guess I should probably show you guys what this sounds like. Yeah, sorry, I kind of went on a little tangent there a little bit, but yeah, this is what the melody sounds like. That is basically the melody, the core melody, the main like kind of the main like the heart and the soul of the actual beat right there. Once I do that, basically the next thing I do, like I said, is I go to my 808 and I lay down an 808 pattern. I feel like most people know this already, but all you have to do is copy the root notes of your main chord. So so for an example, it would be these notes, this note, this note, this note, this note. And then if we go back here to the 808, as you can see, it's the same. Obviously, I've chopped it up a little more to give it some extra bounce, and then I've just kind of moved them around a little bit to add a little bit of variation. And literally all I did for this end part here to add variation is I just put it up one octave. That's it. So yeah, anyways, that's kind of how I do it and what's fastest for me up to this point. One thing I noticed with him as well too is like he doesn't like do a beat the exact same every single time. He just kind of like goes with the flow and kind of does what feels right at the time. And that's something that I was really bad for, is I would like really structure out how I made a beat, and sometimes I feel like that would hinder me, especially if the beat wasn't going well. I would like, you know, just keep going, but like sometimes you just got to stop, change some things, you know, play with the octave a little bit. I don't know, maybe throw an 808 into your melody or throw some basic drums along with your melody, just so you can kind of see what's missing there. And that's one of the biggest things that I learned from him. For the next part of the melody, I see him do this a lot, and I've kind of adopted this strategy from him because it's just a really easy way to do it. You basically just take your main chord. So literally all I did was I just copied I copied this, and then I just took all the kind of counter melody parts out of it. And then what you want to do is you just want to go to some kind of ARP and literally just throw an ARP in there, and then you're basically good to go. He does this a lot where he'll just take a chord progression, the one that he used, he'll throw an ARP in it, and then basically it just creates like a fuller melody, and it sounds good like almost every single time. So this is what that ARP sounds like. And again, that is literally just the exact same chord progression that I used from before. And then the next thing he usually does is he'll make some kind of pluck or some kind of lead, obviously dependent, and you can really do whatever you want to do. And all he'll do is just put these in on the notes of the chord progression and the counter melody. So the original melody that we laid down. Excuse me. Obviously you can't see that because I've already split channels, so you're not gonna be able to see it, but these are all literally just put into the same notes that I used on the main melody. That is literally it. There's nothing crazy about this. It's just really understanding that, you know, once you get a really solid foundation, it's just literally building off of that in the easiest ways. It's not overthinking it. And another thing to mention as well too, a lot of really easy ways to come up with ideas if you're kind of struggling is to add effects to the melodies or the counter melodies. So I didn't do anything for the piano or the ARP, but for this little pluck thing, I actually used Shaperbox, and this is called Hopscotch. It just makes it unique. I don't know, like it's nothing crazy, but it just makes it a little more unique so it doesn't sound as basic. And this is what it sounds like without it. Right, it's very, very basic. And then if you just add the Shaperbox back on, it just adds that little extra bit of sauce to it that will make you stand out from everyone else. And then everything else is very basic, guys. The 808, like I said, just chopping it. You want to have fast 808s for Nick Mira style beats, especially when you're in higher octave. And by fast, I mean like more chops is better. Around the lines of that will do. With your hi-hat, you just want to have something bouncy. This is a hi-hat MIDI that I found, but it works perfect for this kind of beat. And then you want to have some bouncy kind of open hats. I don't usually do my open hats like this, but it just kind of played well with the 808, so I just thought I would do it anyways. And then just adding some perks and some fillers, like perks, fillers, snaps, you know, any of that kind of stuff, just to kind of fill in the beat just a little more. And then you want to have a nice kind of bouncy snare pattern. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. This is literally my bouncy snare pattern, the most basic shit you'll ever see, but it works. And that's the biggest thing, is like people think, oh, you have to have these crazy things. No, you don't have to have anything crazy. As long as it works, then you're good. It doesn't matter if it's simple or not. If it works, it works. And then for my clap, all I did was a basic clap pattern, and then on the second clap I just added another one just as a little accent. And yeah, that's basically the entire beat, guys. So again, like I said, for most people, I know for me especially, the melody always takes the longest for me. So if you can really get your workflow down in the way that I kind of suggested here, and again, it doesn't have to be to a T the exact same, these are just suggestions and things that I've seen from Nick Mira, then you'll be able to really cut down your time, because I feel like drums are always the easiest part for most people, at least. And then when it comes to rearranging, super easy way to do this. I'll just show you how how I rearrange my beats almost every single time because it just works. So you'll separate your tracks here, you'll pull them in here, and then you just copy them over. And I usually go to around, I think like 189-ish or 89 bars. And then all I do is I take out all the drums and then kind of the counter melody-ish type piece of the melody. And I keep something that's interesting enough for someone to hear in the first 8 bars. And then when I come in, I drop all the drums on the drop. And then on the second half of the hook, I bring in that extra piece of the melody. So for the bridge part, it kind of depends on the beat, but for the most part, I just take out all the drums and I keep it like this. So it makes it a little more dramatic when you bring them back in. And then what I like to do, and what Nick Mira does all the time, and it works, man. And this is why I say I like to do it, because it works. And that's why I've taken these and like used them myself. But you want to get rid of the main part of the melody, something that is like the root part, which for us is the piano. So when you do that, it makes it very dramatic, and it also is a big switch up for the ear. So it kind of brings you back into the beat after you kind of think that you have heard like the whole thing. When you do that, you take like the whole, like the main like core piece that you've heard throughout the whole beat. It really brings the listener back in, and it also gives the rapper an opportunity to kind of switch it up a little bit. So let me show you what I mean by that. And so basically what I'll do is I'll have the bridge and then 18 bars. So the bridge and then 18 bars. And then all you do is you just get rid of everything else. And then you literally just copy and paste it over. And then I usually like to cut it off around like 2 minutes and 15 to 2 minutes 30. Again, it's all dependent on what you want to do. And boom, there's your beat right there. Done like dinner. This is just kind of like a rule of thumb type of thing. I mean, it's totally up to you. And then basically for mixing and mastering, I find that if you have a preset that works for you, definitely use that because it's going to help you. I obviously am going to plug my own because I use it in all my beats. It's called the Chrome Master, and it's in my Tesla drum kit if you are interested in getting that. But yeah, this is what I use in every single one of my beats. And then literally everything else is just leveling, and this will just come with time. Like I literally mix so many beats that I just kind of know what I'm looking for with my ear. So when I go in, I can just level everything really easily. For me, I always start at the 808, and again, this is something that I've learned from Nick, to start with the 808 because I want it to be the most prominent thing in my beat. So I start with the 808 and then I move over through all the drums, and then I'll mute all the drums, and then I'll mix the melodies, and then I'll unmute everything, and then I'll do some extra bits, and then I'm done. Yeah, that's pretty much my whole work process, and basically what I've learned from Nick over the few years that I've watched him and all the tutorials and live streams that I've watched of him. But yeah, if you guys found this helpful and you learned something, make sure you leave a like and make sure you leave a comment. We really appreciate it. Helps us a lot and boosts us in the algorithm just a little bit. So we appreciate that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.